This is Right on the Money with Tom Mosley, founder of Mosley Wealth Management.
Our mission at Mosley Wealth Management is to help people make sure they never run out of income the rest of their life and they pay as little as they're legally required to pay in taxes.
Since 1995, Tom Mosley and his team have been creating comprehensive, custom financial plans to help you preserve what you've earned and pursue what you've envisioned.
In retirement, a lot of people have built a great lump sum. We call that your lumber yard. But you need a blueprint to put that lumber yard into a plan that you can build a retirement house to live in.
What's on your mind this week, Southern California? The stock market, taxes, inflation, income, Social Security, how to ease into the life of your dreams? Let's discover conservative financial strategies starting right now. This is your Right on the Money Radio Hour with Tom Mosley.
And a very happy weekend to you. You are listening to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. He is the founder and president of Mosley Wealth Management based right here in Southern California. And I'm your host, Kristin Oakley. We're so glad that you're joining us this weekend. We've got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about things that can wreck your retirement dreams, how to help you plan for the unexpected in retirement. Don't worry, we are focused on retirement planning solutions. So it's not all going to be a Debbie Downer, but we want you to be prepared for the unexpected. Right, Tom?
Life happens. It always does. Forrest Gump said it, and so I guess it's true. And, things happen in life we don't expect. But one thing I do expect is I expect to really enjoy doing this show with you every week. And we enjoy bringing this show to you where we help people learn, help people grow in their financial knowledge. There is not a class in school that teaches you financial education, at least not a required class. And so we try to just help people as much as we can on this show.
Yep, for sure. And, I think that's one of the things that really propelled me to get into this field is I was so frustrated by the lack of financial education. All of us are thrust out into the real world without some of this foundational knowledge of understanding how money works and how to prepare for retirement in particular. So, if you're out there going, yeah, I don't know this stuff, know that you're in good company. You're not alone. This is why we do what we do. And we love being able to provide retirement solutions for you. And I think the best way to set up today's show, Tom, is this quote from John Wooden. He once said that failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And that couldn't be more relevant when it comes to retirement, right?
The coach, man, UCLA right here in our own homeland. He was so famous and he was so great. Just the little simple things he did. And, it's not profound, and it's so not profound, it becomes very profound that just if you fail to plan, you're preparing to fail. Mm-hmm. And you're you get what you expect, you get what you put into something, and just simply preparing. And he was the artist, he was the master at preparation. And he went out and he coached UCLA to championship after championship. And another thing he was famous for doing was he said, you can't control what the opposition does. You can only control how good you are in running your offense, in running your defense, in shooting the ball, in dribbling the ball, in guarding the men that you have to guard from the other team. And in some ways, that's the way retirement is. I don't know what the next wreck is going to come along and it's going to try to derail my retirement. I don't know about the next splurge expansion of inflation. I don't know when the next downturn is going to come. I just have to be prepared myself. I have to make sure that I have prepared. Otherwise, I'm going to fail because I've failed to plan.
So that's what we want to start off by asking you today. Are you unknowingly setting yourself up for a retirement full of surprises? Retirement's often seen as this time of ease and relaxation, but unexpected curveballs can quickly turn your dreams upside down. And so,
Kristin, let me interrupt you and show you this from real life, okay?
Okay.
I just recently had a client. They came to me 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
and they were very much planners. They're very much even planning to succeed, not planning to fail. And we put together a plan with them 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and they called me a couple of months ago and they said, "Tom, we have to meet." And I said, "Okay, that's great. It's not your annual review. The time we come in and we do an evaluate is what we call that meeting." And they said, "No, we really need to meet." And they came in, and he was on a walker, and he was
Mm.
barely able to get around, but he had a lot of pride and a lot of desire and a lot of drive, and he's trying to recover. But he had had a couple of months earlier a massive heart attack.
Mm.
And she said, "Well, we were going to be able to survive that because they were both planning to work for 10 more years. We built this perfect retirement plan. And guess what? They had a wreck. He had the heart attack. And then a week before they called to come in, she got laid off of a job she thought she was going to have for the next 10 years and really top out their retirement." So, you can have a job loss, you can have a health loss, and you, like this couple, could be faced with a 7-year earlier than you planned retirement. And
Mm.
that's massive. And the good news was when we got done and we regrouped, okay, we put together a different plan. And I'm glad to tell you this couple's going to be okay. They're going to be fine because of what, they were planners. They came in 10 years
Mhm.
early and
Yeah.
they had it all done. And it's not going to be as lucrative, and there's not going to be as much margin, but they are not going to run out of money during
Mm.
their retirement because they planned. But at the end, she said, "I'm so glad that we had laid the foundation with that plan, and that plan just got," her words were, she said, "it got blown to smithereens." Okay.
Mm. Mhm.
But we were able to regroup because we had laid some of the foundational things that still fit in our plan, even with bad health and no job. So that's what we mean. You're going to have wrecks. It's called life.
Mhm.
But through those wrecks, you better have a plan. You better know where you're going. You better have it written down because it's going to get knocked off course, and then you can get back on course. But otherwise, you have no course. You have
Yeah.
no plan. You're failing from the very beginning.
Right. And that's why we wanted to dedicate this entire episode to dive into some of the biggest, most costly surprises that retirees face. And, one thing that really stands out to me about that story, thank goodness they had you, Tom. Thank goodness that they had started planning when they did. It's never too early to start planning for the unexpected. And so we're going to arm you today with some practical steps to help you either avoid or minimize the impact of these unexpected challenges. So, first up, Tom, let's talk about some practical tips to implement from the get-go before we go into all these individual things that are wrecks, if you will, the unexpected things that you see pop up for folks. Let's talk about some of the proactive steps that you recommend folks take, even now, whether they're pre-retirees or just entering retirement.
Well, we advertise on this show every single week. We say, call in, sit down with one of our. Now we have 10 all-star advisors. I lose track. I told people the other day we're going to have to start using name tags in the office, and
That's
but
exciting that the growth is happening the way it is.
it is, and we were all day in training this Monday, and because all the people have to stay on the same track with everybody. So whether you meet with me or Travis or Jeff or Ryan or whoever you meet with, you're going to get the full dose of everything we do and the right way that we do it to build here's the deal, a written plan. And we call that written plan a blueprint. 27% of the people, here's what a Transamerica study for retirement did recently. They found out that people who are age 50, some of you are listening to me that are age 50, 27% of those people is all that have a written plan.
Mm.
And that's what we offer. This is what we're saying. If you don't even have a roadmap, you're out there traveling somewhere, and then you have a wreck, and none of your family knows where you are. They don't know where to find you because you've had a wreck on a road they didn't know you were taking. You need a written plan. Only 27% of the people who are 50 years of age or older have a written plan. And it's like a couple was in my office a couple of years ago. It was really funny because she kept saying, we came in to get a written plan, and you keep saying," she's talking to her husband, she says, "You keep saying we've got one. Where is it?" "Well, we've got one." And now he was the one that was sort of didn't want to do anything. He wanted to just go play golf and have fun and not really
Right.
plan.
Yeah.
And she was pressing, and finally he took his index fingers, and on each side of his head, he pointed to his temples, and he said, "It's all up." She said, "Where is it?" He said, "It's all up here." And so she looked at him and she said, "Well, when I put everything that's up there 6 feet under the ground, I need to know where the written plan is, because you need to have a written plan. And if you're married, you need to share that. If you're single, listen to this, really important. You need to have somebody close enough to you, if you have assets and you have a written plan, you need to have that written plan, and you need to share at least where it is
Yes.
with somebody else.
Yep.
So if something happens to you and the wreck is the last wreck that you ever have, that somebody knows what to do with the assets that you leave. And so that's why we advocate a blueprint. And that blueprint, every advisor is going to take you through and look at your retirement income. They're going to look at inflation. They're going to look at investments and where you are and the risk that you're taking. They're going to look at taxes and how much tax you have to pay. They're going to look at healthcare and how well covered or not so well covered you are for healthcare. And they're going to look at legacy. What happens when you're gone? You have to make decisions before you're gone so that all the money goes where you want it to go after you're gone. So we look at all 6 of those things and we put them all together in a written plan. That's what we mean when we say have a plan. When you have a wreck, when you get thrown off, it's there. Now you've got to actively do it. Why would people not want to do it? Well, I don't have time. Nobody has time to do this. Everybody listening, nobody has time to do this. But when you're forced to do it, you have to. It takes more time when you're forced to do it. It takes your family more time after you're gone to put this together. And what happens, and I think, Kristin, this is the biggest shortcoming, I think, in those people who are short-sighted if they don't put together a written plan and they go into retirement. They're headed on a retirement journey, and they don't know how much money they're going to have when they're 85 years old.
Right.
And you say, well, wait a minute, I'm going to retire when I'm 65. Right. And so because you don't have a written plan that addresses your income for the rest of your life, you don't know how much money, you don't know if you're going to run out of money when you're 79 or 81 or 83. And our written plan is not deciding which one of your children you want to move in with.
Right.
Our written plan is making sure that you're able to do the things in your 60s because you know you're going to have money in your 80s. You need to call in and get one.
If you want a plan in your hands, it's completely complimentary. Why wouldn't you pick up the phone and call right now? The number to call is 888-930-5609, and you'll be able to schedule that time to come in, sit down with one of the all-star advisors of Moseley Wealth Management, and they will build you your very own complimentary retirement blueprint. When we come back, we're going to dive into these wrecks and how you can be prepared for the unexpected. Stay with us.
For your own no-cost retirement blueprint, call Tom Moseley of Moseley Wealth Management. 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609. Is having $1 million enough to retire? For years, many have considered this to be the goal amount to have for retirement savings, $1 million. But that's the $1 million question. Is that enough for today's modern retiree? Are you sure you've saved enough for a 25 or 30-year retirement? Are you concerned about covering large expenses, including taxes and long-term care? If so, you're not alone. But there is a solution. With a comprehensive financial plan, you can take control of your finances to help you achieve your long-term goals. At Moseley Wealth Management, let us help you work towards peace of mind by implementing a complete retirement strategy. Call Tom Moseley and the team of Moseley Wealth Management right away to receive your complimentary, comprehensive written financial plan. 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609.
Welcome back, Southern California. You're listening to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley, and today, Tom and I are diving deeply into the different things that can wreck your retirement dreams. And the reason that we would be talking about such a subject is because we want you to be prepared and to plan for the unexpected in your retirement. So whether you're already retired or you're actively planning for it, today's episode is packed with essential strategies and tips to help you weather any storm that retirement might throw your way. You know, Tom, we were talking about that study earlier that from Transamerica, that 27% of people aged 50, only 27%, have a written retirement plan. We want to change that. Hopefully today's show, if you're out there and that's you and you don't yet have a plan in place, it will show you all the more reason why you need to have a plan in your hand. So my goodness, so many things can wreck people's retirement dreams. What's the first item on this list?
Let's talk about inflation. That seems to be the whack-a-mole that's raised its head. And, you're trying to knock down inflation because in the past 4 years, we've had, depending on who you listen to, anywhere from 22% inflation to 26 to 34. I saw a report one time that said, recently that said what retirees spend their money on is actually like 36% inflated over what it was 4 years ago. So inflation, even if it goes away right now or diminishes or goes down right now, here's the problem with inflation. The inflation we've had that's bumped everything up 25 to 33%, depending on which report you want to follow, that inflation is going to stay with us. We're going to have to live with that. We're going to have to adjust. It's something we're going to have to learn to live with. It's like when you go to the doctor and you find out you've got something and excuse the lack of proper English, but it ain't going to get any better. So you're just going to have to learn to live with it. Well, unfortunately, with inflation, you very seldom have deflation, and that causes its own problems. So inflation, it's a wreck. It's hit us. And how are we going to adapt to it? And here's what's even more important. 27% of the people who are 50 years of age are all that have a written plan. If you retire at 65, you're probably going to be hit with inflationary periods 2, 3, 4 times maybe in the 20, 25, 30 years that you live the rest of your life. So what are you going to do about it? Well, when you do have inflation, how do we respond to it? Not just the problem, but what do we do to respond to it? You may need to be a little bit flexible with your spending habits. I remember back during COVID, we all remember that.
Oh, yes.
I think it's funny. So many people refer to it as the COVID. You know what I mean? They put a "the" in front of it because it's something that our lives will be marked by because of all the things we went through. But I remember that lumber, because of the shipping issues that were had and the harvesting of timber in the Northwest and different things, lumber went sky high. And I mean, it was like triple the cost on some items that you were getting from lumber. Now, most of you don't go out and say, well, I don't buy lumber every day. But it's an illustrative point to say maybe it's not time to go buy lumber when it goes sky high. Eggs went sky high. Maybe it's time to substitute something in the diet for eggs. Use something else and substitute something. So you got to be a little bit flexible. You got to prioritize what you spend because, one of the things that really got impacted was healthcare. It seems like, Kristin, that no matter what goes up, stays the same, stays level, skyrockets, healthcare is always on the rocket. It's always going up. And the sad thing of it is when we're in retirement, we face more healthcare issues. And utilities have gone up, maybe not so much in California because we were already sky high. But I know in some of the clients that have moved to other states, they're experiencing sky high inflation on utilities. utilities. So maybe it's time to cut back on as many things and prioritize those things. And, if there's only X amount of dollars to go around and the cost of everything you want is X plus 10, you're going to have to trim 10. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to trim back down to what you have. And the other thing is, it may be time, and I've seen a lot of our clients do this. Nobody loves to do this, but it may be time to, hey, pick up a part-time job, do something you like, find, you got a hobby that could make some money, start trying to, I know one lady that's in our client base, and she loves quilting. And so she went big time in making quilts, and she's gone to a community fair and sold her quilts and was able to make, and they're beautiful. They're absolutely lovely. So be thoughtful, be creative with what you're doing to not just spend less money, but make more money even in retirement. So when that's the wreck that hits you, and inflation has hit all of us, you're going to have to respond. You can either pull over to the side of the road and lay down on the side of the road and cry because you're bleeding, or you can get up and make a plan to go forward. And that's what you need to do when it comes to inflation.
Right. Yep. So important. Of course, we know that inflation is at the top of most people's minds, but with that proper planning, you can help mitigate that challenge. Next up on the list, you touched on this a little bit already, of things that can wreck your retirement dreams: health crises and long-term care needs. Again, another one that I think a lot of folks know is looming on the horizon, but often feel overwhelmed by, and not knowing how they can help mitigate that challenge.
Well, the sad announcement to everybody here is we've got to get out of here somehow. And we know the day we were born. We don't know the day we're going to pass away. We don't know if it's going to be after. And again, this sounds a little morbid to talk about this, but you better address this. You don't know whether you're going to have a years-long illness that gets you. You don't know whether you're going to go suddenly. You don't know whether you're going to need long-term care. Statistics say depending on who you read and how you look at the survey, about 40% of the people are going to need some kind of long-term care. Well, how are you going to pay for all of that? Well, let's talk about the solutions. Number one, you really need to get the right Medicare. Everybody's advertising Medicare Advantage, and it's on the news. It's on every time at the end of the year, from October the 15th till December the 7th, you can switch your Medicare Advantage plan. That's like an HMO. Some people like an HMO because they say, well, I'm not sick. I'm healthy. Well, guess what happens when you hit 72, 74, 77? Something happens and you can't say I'm still healthy. And you may need a specialist. You may need to go to the City of Hope or Loma Linda for some special kind of treatment, but that's not covered by an HMO. So bingo, you should have gotten a supplement. You want to have that PPO type approach where you can go anywhere you want to go. Recently, I went myself and saw a specialist. And the specialist asked me, he said, what doctor referred you to me? And I said, nobody. I had a good friend who uses you. And I named the friend. He said, oh yeah, he's a patient of mine. And I said, I have a Medicare supplement. Therefore, I can pick any doctor anywhere that does Medicare. Wow. He was even learning about it because he's a doctor. All he does is see people. He doesn't really understand a lot of the medical. And are you going to need long-term care?
Meaning the Medicare stuff, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't understand Medicare. He understands, the heart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So where are you going to pay for that? Are you going to do it? Are you going to do long-term care paying for it with a policy? Or are you just going to have a money plan and savings to take care of that? What if you need home health care? You might not want. I just had a client in the office this week, and she was withdrawing money because her husband needed home health care. And her statement to me was, I don't want him to lose his dignity by having to go into a medical facility, into a long-term care facility, into, let's call it a nursing home. He didn't want to go into a nursing home, and she didn't want him to go into a nursing home. Well, a lot of people have options, but to have those options, you've got to put those together in a plan. That's the fifth thing we talk about in the 6 things that are involved in a retirement blueprint. We walk through these things before they happen. The time to fix your roof is before it starts raining. And you've got to put these things in place before you need them. So healthcare, a crisis, long-term care, definitely something that could be a wreck, but we address those things when we build you a retirement blueprint.
And we know that a lot of these things can be overwhelming, but here's the good news. This is what the team of 𝗪𝗟 Wealth Management specializes in doing for folks. They do it day in and day out. They've helped thousands of people retire successfully, and they would love to help you mitigate these risks for your retirement dreams as well. That number to call to claim your complimentary retirement blueprint, 888-930-5609. We'll be back with more right after this.
Get your retirement right on the money with Tom Mosley. Call 888-930-5609 for your no-cost appointment. 888-930-5609. You've heard the phrase, you don't know what you don't know, and we believe it's especially true when it comes to retirement planning. There's a lot of information out there, and it can be overwhelming and confusing. So how do you know what you don't know? Social Security, RMDs, estate planning, investment risk. These are just a few of the many areas that a financial advisor can help you navigate. But what else don't you know about retirement planning? Are you aware of all of the tax implications of your investments? Do you know how to optimize your Social Security benefits? What about your long-term care and estate planning needs? We believe that by working with a retirement planning advisor, you can uncover potential blind spots in your financial plan and gain a better understanding of your options. Don't let unknown factors potentially derail your retirement. Take control and work with a financial advisor who can help you work towards planning out a comfortable retirement. Call Tom Mosley and the team at 𝗪𝗟 Wealth Management today to uncover what you may not know about your retirement future and start your complimentary retirement blueprint. Call 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609.
What concerns you most when it comes to retirement? Is it the fear of running out of money, the uncertainty of market volatility, or maybe it's healthcare costs as you grow older? At 𝗪𝗟 Wealth Management, we'll work together to develop a comprehensive retirement plan for you that is designed to help protect and grow your wealth while also aligning with your lifestyle goals. Call Tom Mosley of Right on the Money and 𝗪𝗟 Wealth Management at 888-930-5609 to learn how we can help you work towards achieving financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Our team can help you navigate the complexities of retirement planning with confidence with a detailed written plan for retirement. Call Tom Mosley and the team at 𝗪𝗟 Wealth Management for your complimentary retirement blueprint. 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609. Welcome back, Southern California. You're listening to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. He is the founder and president of 𝗪𝗟 Wealth Management based right here throughout Southern California, and I'm your host, Kristin Oakley. If you're just tuning in and joining us, we're so glad you're here. Today, we are discussing things that can wreck your retirement dreams, how to plan for the unexpected in retirement. Next up on our list of things that can wreck your retirement dreams, oh gosh, Tom, we've seen this happen to so many people throughout the years without the proper planning: market volatility and economic downturns. And I think folks have been a little bit maybe lulled to sleep on this after we've just been through the longest bull run market we've ever had. But we need to be very aware that this could always happen, right?
It always could. You know, the market has always gone opposite of everything else. If the market's up, greed causes people to want to get into the market. And if the market is down, fear causes people to want to get out of the market. It should go really opposite. If housing prices are sky high and you're contemplating buying a house in the next 2, 3, or 4 years, or maybe even now, if they're sky high now and you think they might go down in the future, for goodness sakes, wait just a little while. Wait till prices go down. If Charlie came home and said, you know, we need to buy a house, and you guys were looking for a house, and he said, we need to buy a house, and I saw in the newspaper that housing prices are higher than they've ever been before, we need to go buy one this weekend, you would probably say, Charlie, let's talk about that, because
Mm-hmm.
you want to buy low and sell high. But when it comes to the market, when the market goes up, everybody says, well, I need to get into it. I mean, it's sky high. I need to get into it. And when the market goes down, everybody's, oh, I don't know. I'm fearful. I need to get out. It's one of the only things that works that way. Now, let's retire you if you're listening. We're talking about wrecks.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're driving down the road, I was just thinking, don't have a wreck while you're listening to this show.
Yes.
But
Be safe.
But yes, be safe, drive safely. But if you retire at 65 on a normal trend, and the one thing we know about the market is nothing is normal.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go back all the way to like 1970s, you can go 5 years of market growth, and about every 5 years, there's a downturn or a recession. That happened in the 80s twice. It happened in 90s and in 94. It happened in 2000 to 2003. It happened in 2008. And you see the correlation there every 5 years. And to your point, when we started this segment, oh my goodness, from March the 9th of 2009, when the Dow Jones was at 6,000,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now it's at 44,000, all
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So, oh my goodness, it's just exploded. And I have actually had people come in and say, I was so afraid in 2008 that in 2009, I finally took my money out and put it to a money market in the bank. And I haven't lost anything since 2009 because it's been in a money market. Oh my
Well, I beg to
goodness.
differ. They've gone broke safely, right?
They
What
have,
they've missed out on.
Kristen, there's some slogans and sayings that you bring to the show that just so fit. And that is exactly what happened. They've gone broke safely. But you can also go broke by being too aggressive.
Yes.
And I go back, I'm the old football coach. I'm old and I coach football. And I go back to about 5 or 6 years ago when the Atlanta Falcons were 19 points ahead in the fourth quarter in the Super Bowl, and they lost it.
I know.
Because,
Amazing, right?
yeah, they kept making turnovers.
Yep.
They kept throwing interceptions, running out of bounds to stop the clock when the clock was their friend. They
Mm-hmm.
had enough points. Let's draw the analogy here. They had enough points. All they needed was for the game to be over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And many, many people get to the point when they're 60, 63, 64. Not that any of you have ever been gambling, but on the gambling table, it's like when you have that big pile of chips and you're thinking, I should probably walk away. But you stay just a little bit long. Oop, you lost. You stay just a little bit longer. Oop, you lost again. And before long, that big pile of chips is gone or almost gone. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people are the same way. When you get close to retirement, they say, well, people say, when I get to retirement, I'll consider market volatility. Well, when you get to it's like at the end of a football game, a team being 3 points ahead and saying, well, I'm only 3 points ahead and there's 45 seconds on the clock and the other team doesn't have any timeouts. You need to go to what's called a victory formation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many people in retirement or close to retirement. You've got enough money to retire and have the retirement of your dreams. Go to the victory formation, put the plan together, enact it. Take some of what we used to say on the farm when it would rain and get muddy, we would say, take some air out of the tires on the tractor and it won't get bogged down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So some of you need to take some of the air out of your investments when it gets close to retirement, because what you do is you stay at risk. And then we go through a 2000, 2001, 2002, where the market went down 47%, or we go through a 2008 where the market goes down 54.6%. And where are you then?
Mm-hmm.
You're still working.
Yeah.
You're still going. You're still working. But then when you get into retirement, you say, well, okay, well, I'm retired and we're on top right now. Watch your risk level, because we are still going to have market volatility and economic downturns.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that it's going to be great forever. And so consider more options that are safe. Maybe we use fixed indexed annuities to guarantee people's income for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
We said earlier, You need to know you're going to have income when you're 85, 90, 95. You're never going to outlive your income. Then that will allow you to go and spend the money you need during your go-go years to go enjoy Rome and Cinque Terre and Florence and all those other places I just went to last month, okay? You're going to be able to enjoy those things and not worry about, am I spending my grocery money when I'm 85 years old? You need to have that plan, and it needs to be protected somewhat from market volatility. A fixed indexed annuity will guarantee your income for the rest of your life. It's an income strategy. There are other income strategies we use, but that might be best for you. But here's the theme of the whole show. You need a plan so that when you have a wreck, you're able to recover. Market volatility, it's a big wreck that comes to some people.
Yes, and it needs to be planned for and prepared for. And, it's interesting because one of the proactive steps, to your point, is to help people diversify their investments and consider some of these safer options. I know a lot of folks might think that they're diversified at a base level. I think people understand that. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But there's a difference between just being diversified and being truly diversified across different asset classes, which is what you're essentially doing when you remove some of that risk and use something like a fixed indexed annuity, right?
In all of our conference rooms, we have a 4x8 board on the wall that just really lays out a financial plan. And your numbers, when you're putting together a retirement blueprint, you come in for an envision where we just ask you a ton of questions. You ask us as many questions as you want. We usually take your statements, and those statements tell us where you are financially. The questions we ask tell us what you're wanting to do with what you have. And so that's how we begin to build a plan. Now, you come in for that second analyze appointment, and what we do is we put all of your numbers and we fill them into the different spots on that board. There's a tax spot. Okay, you're talking about diversification in multiple ways, Kristin.
Mm-hmm.
There's tax diversification. Some of your
Yes.
money, every penny's got to be taxed at regular income. Some of your money, it's in an after-tax account, so therefore you're only going to pay tax as capital gains on how it grows. And some of your money, we hope, is in a tax-free account, and that's like a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k. It's important to know that. And then we have boxes where we put each of your accounts, and you've got money in the bank, and everybody listening, everybody needs money in the bank. Okay, you need emergencies because wrecks happen, and when a wreck happens, you don't need to have to go destroy your complete financial plan just to cover yourself in that wreck. So there needs to be an emergency fund. Kristin, I'm amazed at how many people have moved away in helping people with financial planning, some of the big box firms, from an emergency fund. They just put it all in the market and put survivable money, only barely survivable money in the bank, but there's some money needs to be in the bank. Then most people, I'll skip to the third box, which is red. The bank box is yellow, but the third box is red because that's money at risk in the market. And so many of you have 95, 100% of your money at risk in the market.
Yeah.
Well, there's a green box in the middle, and that's principal protected. That's long-term income-related money, and that could be in a fixed indexed annuity to guarantee your income for the rest of your life, or it could be in a very safe bucket with about I like to have 3 to 5 years of safe money where you're going to make some decent money, some CD type money return there where you might make 3, 4, 5% depending on the market, but it's where your income is coming from if you choose to go that route, and you're going to have that income for the next 3 to 5 years. That way, when the money goes up and down in that red bucket, that at risk bucket in the market volatility hits, you don't have to panic because you've got 3 to 5 years of income set away. You say, wow, that sounds like something I'd be interested in. Those are the kind of things we work through. Not everybody gets an annuity. Not everybody just puts away the money and leaves it at risk and just puts it in that safer bucket. But you need to tell your money what you want it to do. The bank, income protected, or at risk in the market, and you need to know what percentage is there. All of that comes to you in a retirement blueprint.
It's so important to know. And maybe you're sitting there asking yourself after this conversation, am I properly diversified? Do I have true diversification? Am I telling my money what it needs to do? Our money has different jobs for us to be doing. Are you confident that your money is working the right jobs for you? Again, this is why we invite you to pick up the phone and call 888-930-5609 to schedule your time to come in and receive your very own complimentary retirement blueprint from the team of Moseley Wealth Management. We've got a lot more to cover on today's show. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
More Right on the Money with Tom Moseley right after this. Get your own no-cost retirement plan review at 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609. At Moseley Wealth Management, we believe that everyone should have access to a comprehensive financial plan without having to pay a fee for it. We understand that financial planning can be complex and intimidating, which is why we've made it our mission to help people work towards achieving financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Our experienced advisors can work with you to develop a personalized financial plan that is tailored to your unique needs and goals. We'll help you identify potential areas for improvement in your retirement plan, including your investment strategy, tax planning, and risk management approach. With our comprehensive approach to retirement planning, you can be confident that you're making informed decisions that are designed to help you achieve your financial objectives. And the best part, at Moseley Wealth Management, you don't have to pay a fee for a written financial plan. Don't let the cost of a written financial plan hold you back from working towards your retirement goals. Call Tom Moseley of Moseley Wealth Management for your complimentary financial plan with one of our experienced advisors. We believe we can help you get on the path to financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Call Tom Moseley and the team at Moseley Wealth Management right now. 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609.
Welcome back to Right on the Money with Tom Moseley. He is the founder and president of Moseley Wealth Management based right here in Southern California, and I'm your host, Kristin Oakley. We are talking today about the things that can wreck your retirement dreams and how you can be prepared and make sure that you are doing the proper planning for the unexpected in your retirement. We don't want your retirement dreams to be wrecked, so that's why we're diving deeply into this conversation today. Before we get back into it, Tom, I know that we always need to let our listeners know where they can come and meet with you and the team at one of your live events. So talk about some of the events that you have coming up.
Well, you need to go to our website, Moseley Wealth Management. That's MOSLEY wealthmanagement.com. Get on there and you can see when we're going to have a seminar in your area. We do Social Security workshops, tax workshops at this time of the year. We also do a more complete 2 to 3 hour retirement master class, and we sprinkle those out all the way up from around our Encino office, our Arcadia office, our Ontario office, our main office here in Anaheim, and then down in San Diego, all the way from North San Diego County down to San Diego itself and out east of San Diego. We have events sprinkled all over the place. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to help educate you. We'd love to just bring you along in your financial knowledge. Go on there. Let us know you're coming, though. You can register online. Let us know you're coming so we'll have enough material. But please come visit with us. We'd love to go deeper and we'd love to get to know you.
And again, these events are completely complimentary for you. So again, this is a great opportunity for you to come learn more in depth about any one of these financial topics and be able to meet with some of the team members from Moseley Wealth Management. So to check out the events coming up in your area, visit moseleywealthmanagement.com. That's MOSLEY wealthmanagement.com. Getting back to our list here of things that can wreck your retirement dreams. Next up on the list, tax surprises. And my goodness, Tom, so much goes into taxes. There's constant changes in tax laws. There can just be the lack of knowledge of understanding how you make a decision in one area of your financial life can negatively trigger tax consequences in another area. So much goes into this, and it's important for folks to be prepared from a tax planning perspective.
It really is. Will Rogers, the humorist from about 100 years ago, he said, nothing is like death and taxes. He said the better thing about death is death doesn't change every time Congress meets.
Right.
Okay, because it seems like they've not, quote, raised taxes in a long time, but they take away deductions.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't allow you to deduct more than $10,000 now for insurance and taxes and things like that on your house. They don't allow you to start deducting medical expense after 7% anymore. Now it's 10%. Well, those little creeping things are not tax increases per se, but they increase the amount of tax you're going to have to pay. So you call it what you want, but we do have tax law changes and you have to stay up with them. But here's one thing: is people come to our Social Security workshops, and by the way, they've given tests to people who supposedly know their stuff about
Mm-hmm.
Social Security. In other words, people out there say, yeah, I know everything there is to know about Social Security. Nothing surprises me. And they've given tests to people who claim to know things about Social Security,
Mm-hmm.
and they have 71% of those people fail the test.
Yes, I've
Okay.
seen that because, I used to travel specifically and give retirement planning presentations on Social Security. We would start off that segment with a 10-question quiz. It was amazing to see people going, I thought I knew this stuff. And most people in the room would fail the quiz.
God bless my mom's soul. She passed away in 2008 of Alzheimer's, but in the peak of her Alzheimer's, when she could still communicate, she loved to watch Wheel of Fortune, and she never said a word until after all the letters were turned over and they announced what the answer was.
Mm.
And my mom would pipe up and said, I knew that.
Aw.
That's all she would say. I knew that. I almost want to tear up a little bit because I've heard her
Yeah.
say that when I would visit them when they lived in Texas and in Tulsa. I've heard her say that 50 times if I've heard her say that one time. And a lot of people are about Social Security and taxes, and they're about required minimum distributions. They know everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's all said and done, they say, I knew that, but then they mess it up because they don't know that.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons that we teach about it. There's income tax on your IRA, there's income tax on your 401k. That comes out as regular income. A Roth doesn't get taxed at all except when it goes in. A
Mm-hmm.
non-qualified plan, you say, what's that? That's a plan where you've paid the tax on what went in there and you only pay capital gains tax, an entirely different kind of tax on the growth of it. You say, wow, my head's spinning from just those things. Well, you're right. So Mike Tyson used to say, everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people say, well, I've got this plan and I've got that plan, and they don't consider taxes.
Yep.
And they say, I need $6,000 in retirement every time we ask that in our Envision appointment. And the follow-up question is that before tax or after tax? And they stand there and look at you like you've just said something from a foreign language,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't even really think about that they're still going to have to pay tax on most of their income, unless it's in a Roth, in retirement. So don't let that be a wreck for you. Now, I'll tell you one way you can help yourself. It's really simple. We have a website that we put together. It's called easemytaxbill.com. And that's EASE, mytaxbill.com. All those words are easy. You can go on there, punch in your name, and you can put the amount of money that you have in your IRAs and your 401ks, because those are going to have to come out and be taxed once you reach the age of 73 right now. You have to start getting taxed on those. So if you were born in 1951 or earlier and you're not taking money out of your IRA and 401k, except for the one or two little exceptions, you're going to be paying penalties as well as tax on that. So go to easemytaxbill.com and it can show you exactly how much you're going to have to pay in taxes. And that's where we come in. Our job and our purpose as a company is to make sure you never run out of sufficient income the rest of your life. We've talked about that in some places in the show already, but it's also that you pay as little as you're legally required to pay in taxes. Being proactive,
Mm-hmm.
looking through the windshield of retirement, not just the rear view mirror like your CPA. In a month or two, your CPA is going to call you and say, hey, get your stuff in. And that means get me all your receipts and all your documents and everything. And then a month later or so, they're going to call you and, hey, I got your stuff ready. And all of it is looking in the rear view mirror. It will be in 2025 at what you're doing in 2024.
Yeah.
What we do with our clients is look through the windshield and say, and the 𝗧𝗵𝗁 will let you do that. How much tax am I going to have to pay in the future on my IRA and my 401k? Chances are it's going to be a punch that hits you in the mouth, and it could be a wreck if you're not planning ahead of time.
Yes, it can be one of the biggest detriments and one of the biggest wrecks to your retirement dreams. And once you see those numbers side by side, we've said this before, but when you put in that basic information on that site, 𝗧𝗵𝗁.com, you're going to see what the government's tax plan is for you versus what your plan could be with some proper and strategic tax planning done in place. And once you see that difference, you cannot unsee it. So we encourage you to check that out. Again, that's 𝗧𝗵𝗁.com. So important to have a plan in place by working with a financial planner such as Tom and the team of 𝗍𝗠𝗠 Wealth Management to minimize your tax burden.
You know what, Kristin?
What?
The government's tax plan has not won a game this year. Okay. Your own tax plan is undefeated versus the government's tax plan. There's always ways to save and to do it to your benefit as opposed to the government's plan. You need to call in.
Yes, for sure. Well, again, I know we have only a few more minutes left here as we've been covering the different wrecks to your retirement dreams. One of the ones that we definitely need to talk about, though, Tom, is family-related issues. I know that this can cover a wide span of situations that you see in your office regularly.
You know, let me mention very briefly in a couple of minutes 3 of them. Number one, when you lose a spouse, if you're married and one of you passes away, there's tremendous amount of things happen that people don't expect. Number one, there's the loss of the lower Social Security. Number two, you go from a married filing jointly in almost all cases down to a single tax bracket. Number three, you've still got to cover the money for the house, the money for the mortgage, the money for gasoline. And so many times I've seen so many people, because they weren't financially prepared, that surviving spouse, and I want to say this in love, had to marry a wallet. In other words, they had to marry somebody who could help them, and they get into another situation. And then the other way you lose a spouse is not through death, but through divorce. And that is there. I read one statistics that said that 34.9% of the divorces in 2021 were in couples over 55 years of age. You know, they call the workplace the Great Resignation. I guess this could be called the Great Disengagement, because people are just disengaging from marriage. That's going to impact you in a big way. And the other thing I've seen from a financial standpoint that becomes a wreck, and it's family related, is you have to take care of aging parents or adult children even, or grandchildren get brought back to your house. And it's an impact on you on your time, your emotions, and also on your finances. So these are wrecks that could happen to you from a family standpoint. Here's what we want to do. We want to put together a plan for you. So when all of these inevitable wrecks come to you, and I don't know what's going to come to you, but you are prepared, and you can recover, and you can thrive, not just survive in your retirement.
And that's what having a written plan in your hands can do for you. So again, this is for no cost, no charge, no obligation. It's simply an invitation to have a conversation to see how Tom and the team of 𝗍𝗠𝗠 Wealth Management can help and serve you. To claim your complimentary retirement blueprint to help you safeguard yourself against these wrecks, all you need to do is call 888-930-5609. Or again, you're also welcome to visit us online at 𝗍𝗠𝗠wealthmanagement.com. Thanks so much for joining us this weekend. We appreciate you being here. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and we look forward to being back with you next time here on Right on the Money with Tom Mosley.
This is Right on the Money with Tom Mosley of 𝗍𝗠𝗠 Wealth Management. Get your own no-cost complimentary retirement plan review. 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609. Investment advisory services offered by duly registered individuals through Mosley Wealth Management Incorporated. Mosley Wealth Management and Mosley Insurance and Financial Services are affiliated companies by common ownership license number OB61811. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refers to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength, claims paying ability of the issuing carrier. This content is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the needs of an individual situation. All hypothetical examples are provided for illustrative purposes only. They do not represent real-life scenarios. Mosley Insurance and Financial Services, nor its agents or representatives, may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any investment decisions. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. Some of the information provided may be from one or more third parties, which we believe to be reliable sources, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Mosley Insurance and Financial Services.